So as I mentioned to start the episode out, we are so close to football. ESPN just released their individual player rankings within each position group. So we thought we'd play on that a little bit. And Kyle and I are just going to go through and rank all the Detroit Lion position groups 1 through 8. So we're going to start with our 8th, meaning our weakest position group, work all the way up to what we consider our strongest position group. If any of our guys fall into ESPN's player rankings there, the groups that we have the running back room, the quarterback room, the wide receiver room, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, and then the special teams. Got to include those guys. Got to include our boy Jake Bates. So we're going to rank all those guys. Let's start with our 8th, as in our worst position group that the Detroit Lions have. Kyle, who are you going to start us off with? We're going to go back and forth, see if we align on any of these. Start us off. Who's the worst position group that the Detroit Lions have?
8 is the hardest one for me because, well, first, I mean, this team is very good top to bottom. I mean, say what you want about like just the underperforming last season. There was a ton of talent and, hopefully a good draft class this year that can fill any holes that we might have had. I love Jake Bates and I love Jack Fox. I just feel like in general, like special teams is probably 8 for me. And I do disagree with ESPN. I would say both Jake Bates and Jack Fox are easily top 10. And Jack Fox, I feel like, is top 5 in punters. It's not even close. I don't think either of them cracked the top 10 for ESPN's rankings. But, I mean, regardless, they're going to be a close 8 for me. It's no shade. It's a solid unit between Bates and Fox. I think we're probably light on kick returner now. Punt returner, I think that's probably lowering them down to 8 for me as well.
From the jump here, we're going to disagree just because Jack Fox, he is one of the best punters, if not the best punter in the league. It's something that as Michigan State fans, we've grown to love. One of your best position players is your punter. It's sad when that is the case because you got no one else to watch except for your punter, but it actually does, it does affect the game a lot in being able to flip the field. Jake Bates, I think the jury is out a little bit. He had a really, really good 2 years ago. I think he had a little bit more of an average season last year, but I agree with you that the return game definitely took a hit. All that being said, I don't have them as my 8. I got to go secondary. Secondary is going to be my worst ranked position group for the Detroit Lions. Full healthy. I would say we are top half of the league. A healthy Brian Branch, a healthy Kirby Joseph, a healthy Terrion Arnold. We're a good secondary group, but there's so many question marks. So you have obviously Terrion Arnold in literal prison. Brian Branch is coming back from a major injury. It's a big question mark. It doesn't sound like he's going to be able to start the season, but it sounds like when he does come back, that's a major injury to come back from. And Kirby Joseph, there's a big question mark on not whether he's going to come back and be 100, whether he's going to be able to play again. The Lions have no corners in the top 10, according to ESPN in their position rankings. They do. Brian Branch listed technically as number 4 safety in the league, and then Kirby Joseph is technically also number 9. Secondary's got to be my worst position for the Lions at number 8.
If everyone was healthy, I would bump up our secondary. We have dudes, like you said, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, like those are dudes. But then you look at the injuries. So yes, immediately your secondary takes a huge hit. And then, like you mentioned, Kirby Joseph, like, are his knees like even there? He's been having surgeries and like there's a bunch of shit going on. No one really knows. So I definitely have them as my number 7 unit.
I mean, over the past 2 seasons, the Lions had a defensive EPA of plus 28 when Kirby Joseph was the nearest defender per NFL Next Gen Stats. It's the highest in the NFL. So like when they're fully healthy, they probably move up to like 6 in my position rankings, but they had to be 8. You said they're number 7 for you. So we're just flipped on that because I'm going to put special teams at 7.
So 6, it's tough, man. I keep on going back and forth here. I'm putting defensive line at 6, dude. It's a one-man show, and it has been for so long. I mean, we all know that Aiden Hutchinson is such a beast. Like, for me, probably top 2 defensive end in the league. I think ESPN might have had him at like 4. Still very fair. Coming off that injury, he just had a really solid season. It's just that the depth just isn't there for me. Like, Aleem McNeil, if he's fully healthy, that's still a big question mark if like he can come back and be the production of Aleem McNeil of like 2 years ago, pre-injury. And then Tyleik Williams, your first round pick from last year. I keep on watching games thinking like you just need more production out of your first round pick. So again, could have a huge upswing in year 2 for Tyleik Williams, but it just seems like overall the depth just isn't there. You've always needed another pass rusher. They're 6 for me.
Yeah, we're in lockstep here. They're going to be 6 for me too. ESPN has Aiden Hutchinson as a 5th ranked edge player last year. He was 2nd in pressures with 63, 3rd in quarterback hits with 35, tied for 2nd in forced fumbles with 4, 4th in sacks with 14.5. So he had 950 snaps which was first among defensive linemen last year. So like obviously Aiden's doing it all. And you mentioned Tyreek Williams. They're really banking on Tyreek Williams making that next step and Aleem McNeil getting back to his dominant ways of 2 years ago. Regardless, even if they do, you're still a super large question mark. Derek Moore out of Michigan, like that was quote unquote our solution at the edge position. And so, like, I agree. The defensive line has to be 6 because there's just no one else other than Aiden, unless maybe Ahmed Hassanin.
Do you wanna rip it with number 5?
So this is when it gets really tough. I'm gonna catch some slack from this at 5. I'm gonna put our QB room. I think.
Wow.
I think. I like Jared Goff. I just think like Jared's his prime revival was the 2 years ago when we were 15-2. But since then, I feel like we've found that like the offense needs to be running perfectly around him in a sense that like it's shown its ugly head a few times, looking back to the Houston game, 2 years ago, and he had 5 interceptions and we still were able to pull it out because we're a good team around him. But if the conditions aren't perfect for him, he worries me. I think maybe I'm going to catch some slack on this for online, but also like, you look at his age, he's definitely getting older. He's not mobile whatsoever. I'm going to put a QB room at 5th overall position group.
I have him higher. I'm just going to defend my boy just for a little bit. Like, yeah, you look at the eye test, and there were some games that Jared struggled, but just body of work overall, just another 4,500-yard season. Like, it just stellar, man. 34 picks, 8 interceptions. Like, the man is still just efficient as ever. I think his completion percentage dropped off just a little bit from 2 years ago. I think he finished like 5th in MVP voting. So yeah, that was special. You mentioned the age. I think QBs, they age like wine, and especially a guy who's not mobile to begin with. Like he's just going to be able to sling it for a number of years to come. So for that reason, I don't have him slotted next. My 5, it's going to the linebacker room, and really similar to our defensive line room, it just comes down to depth. We have the star. For sure, Jack Campbell. Love him to death. Just got paid, rightfully so. Very well deserved. He's awesome, man. I think ESPN had him as the 5th best linebacker in the league. PFF has him top 10 as well. I think 8. He is the leader of this team. 166 tackles in 2025. He's just a workhorse, man. He's got that motor that you just need in your defense, especially for a guy with the green dot on the helmet. But then you lose a guy like Alex Anzalone. I just feel like the depth in the linebacker room is too thin for me to have it ranked any higher, especially compared to some really, really stellar position groups that we're going to get to and break down right now. I have them at 5.
Yeah, a hand up. I'm shooting from the hip a little. I was shooting from the hip a little bit there. You are probably right in this. I wasn't thinking about the linebacker group. I was trying to compare it to the offensive line and the running backs, receivers, stuff like that. So I hand up there. But looking at Goff, I think our system is definitely set up to support a gunslinger and kind of pads numbers a little bit. And then you could probably point out to the terrible offensive line play. Obviously, the pocket pressure for Goff was terrible. He had a career high 38 sacks, but he did have over the last 2 years 9,193 yards, 71 touchdowns. So yeah, hand up, you're probably right on this. Campbell's been so good. Like it's so top heavy. That top of the linebacker room is so good. He had 176 tackles last year, which is the most for a Lions player since Chris Spielman in 1994. 40% run stop win rate was 5th among linebackers. So I agree with you. The linebacker probably should be there and then QB, but Jack Campbell, in my opinion, is a better linebacker than Jared Goff is a quarterback, if that makes sense.
Agreed. Yeah. Jack Campbell top 5, Jared probably closer to that 8, 9, 10 spot.
And ESPN has Jack Campbell as a 5th overall linebacker and Jared Goff at the 9th overall quarterback. So I guess maybe I wasn't that far off. It just depends on how you value, the positions.
Do we have it flipped? Are you going linebacker next? Because I'm going quarterback next. I guess that would be the 4 slot.
Yep, exactly. So 4. So same thing, 4, 5. We have linebacker and quarterbacks. So then that leads us to our final 3: running back room, offensive line, and wide receiver room.
This is the tough one. This is
really. I was just gonna say, I think this is chalk. I think this is easy.
Oh, it's not. It's not for me at least. So like I don't know where you're going. I guess maybe I should go first then.
Yeah. All right, you go first. Who's our 3rd best position group for the Lions?
I don't know. Okay, I had something written down. I think I'm going against it.
That's what I just did with quarterbacks. So we're shooting from the hip here.
Fuck. Just because there just is that uncertainty from last season's struggles. I am going to go 3 with offensive line, and I actually had them higher. It's just that you're starting a rookie at right tackle. Penny is moving over to left, which, played nothing but left tackle for probably all of his career until he got to the NFL. So like that should be fine, but still a bit of an uncertainty. He signed center Cade Mays, certainly a plus from center Graham Glasgow, like just a corpse of himself later on in his career. Love Graham, but like he fell off late. So you're upgraded there. Still, question marks. Right guard, left guard, Rutledge. He should take another step forward. Regardless, it should be a very good unit. It should be back to being a easily top 10 unit in this league. Hopefully top 5. But they were probably one of the best units in the league 2 years ago, and then just a huge step back. Obviously, a ton of that went into it. Taylor Decker's injuries, your center just up and retired after the draft. So, like, there was a ton of turmoil, and they should take another step forward. But for me, like, they are just our third best unit.
That's totally fair. 2 years ago, we would probably be having this argument about them being the number 1 unit. And then last year, we would definitely be arguing like 6th or 7th overall unit. And so I think it's definitely fair to put them here at 3, just because there's a lot of question marks. But I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go with our receiver room being 3. And that's just because the lack of depth, similar to the linebacker room. We're flipped here. You probably have receiver room at 2. And
I do.
Yeah. So we can go through kind of both of them here. For the offensive line, like you mentioned, Panay jumping back to left tackle. That's what he did all in college. He's elite talent. Like, I have no questions that he's going to be able to take that over. At the same time, he did have a down year, as our entire offensive line did last year. Last year, he had an 89.6% pass block win rate, which actually was outside the top 40 offensive tackles in the entire NFL last year. It was his lowest since his rookie year in 2021. So, like, he is an elite talent, elite leader. I have no hesitancy that he's going to be able to take over left tackle, but, like, he definitely had a down year last year. And then I think Tate Ratledge is definitely going to take a next step next year. I think I have no real worries for him. We talked about Blake Miller ad nauseum at the draft. Like, he was the perfect pick. He's not going to be fantastic, but I think he's definitely going to hold his own. Outside of those, Cade Mays was a little bit of a bargain deal there. Obviously, we didn't go with the top center and Tyler Linderbaum. But as we mentioned, when we signed Cade Mays, 1 year of Tyler Linderbaum's deal was the same amount of money that Cade's entire 4-year contract was for. I'm more optimistic. My receiver room, like I said, the lack of depth. You look at the kind of that 3-4 receiver. It's kind of bounced around from a few different guys over the last few years, which is fine. You had Josh Reynolds, you had Tim Patrick. You and I are Timmy P lovers, but then they obviously went out and traded up to get Isaac Tesla last year, so they moved on from Tim Patrick. Tesla's going to have a much larger role in this offense moving forward. He had like 16 catches last year, and 7 of them were for touchdowns. He's going to get a lot more catches. But you look at Waymo, I think we just need a little more consistency from Waymo. I think every now and again he had the opportunity to change a game, but there was definitely stretches when I was like, "Damn, is Jamison even on the field?" And then talking about our star boy, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown for a time last year led the league in drops, and that's like an issue that he never had to deal with his entire career. So I think the lack of depth, the Amon-Ra St. Brown strange issues that he was having with drops last year, and the Jameson Williams tendency to either, boom or bust. I think as your number 2 receiver, you need a little bit more consistency than boom or bust, is why I put them at 3 and offensive line at 2.
I'm with you. I just feel like the star power, and I mean, we got star power obviously on the offensive line as well. Just like there's a little bit more for me in the receiver room, which is why I have them at 2. You mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown, can't say enough good things, even though, yeah, he did have the case of the drops a little bit. Mm-hmm. That was a little weird. I feel like just the entire team just was playing like shit collectively, and I don't know. I think it just soaks into everything, but still, ARSB. 117 catches, 4th straight season with over 100 catches, 1,400 yards, 11 tutties. The biggest thing for me, he was just a walking first down. And he has been in his entire career. 70 of those 117 catches were for first downs last year. JMO, I agree. You just needed a little bit more out of him. Like, the talent is insane. 1,100 yards. I do agree. Just, it's thin behind that. I mean, Isaac Tesla, I'm looking at his stats. The 27 targets was a head scratcher for me. It seems like they just were never, ever, ever throwing his way. And when they did, he scored touchdowns. I think there's going to be a big bounce for Isaac Tesla. And then we talk about the wide receiver room. I know we're not talking about tight ends, but I do just want to give some shout out to Sam Laporta like that. I think he's going to have a bounce back. He does so much more for this team besides just catch passes. He's an incredible blocker as well. But you totally felt his absence last year. But yeah, still a stellar receiving room. No matter how you want to slice it, number 3, number 2, it's still, I think, one of the better receiving rooms in the entire NFL. And it's a huge strength for us.
For what it's worth, ESPN has 0 Detroit Lion guards on their top 10 or in their honorable mentions, which makes sense. For tackles, they have Penei Sewell as the number 1 offensive tackle in the NFL. Again, makes sense. As it relates to receivers, they had Amon-Ra St. Brown as the 5th overall receiver, and then Jameson Williams coming in as an honorable mention. So just based on that, it kind of balances out like a 1 overall, but no one else, and then a 5 and an honorable mention kind of balances out. I'm glad you brought up Sam Laporta, because I'm just going through this and I realized like we could have just made the tight end room their own position group. We could have technically thrown them in with the offensive line because of the blocking, could have thrown them in with the receivers. But Sam Laporta was ranked as the 4th overall tight end in the NFL. Obviously, last year with his injuries, he had a career low 40 catches, 489 yards, and just 3 touchdowns. But he does a lot in the blocking game. Before we get to our number 1, because obviously that's our 2 and 3, if we were to throw the tight end group into this, just difficult looking back, where do you think you'd put the tight end group, being a little bit top heavy with Sam Laporta?
Yeah, Sam Laporta, obviously incredible. But like, besides Laporta, when he went down, like, I mean, we're literally signing guys off the street and off the practice squad and like them in. Like, we had nobody as a backup tight end. So like, because of that, I can't put them as high as a group. You really only need 1 stud, but like when that stud goes down, you kind of do need that depth. So for me, I don't know, I'd probably maybe put him somewhere near where I had like, you know, quarterbacks, linebackers, somewhere in that like 5'6", 4, 5, 6, but like, can't be any higher, man, because there's just no depth.
Can't be any higher. I'm going back and forth between 5th and 6th. I'm thinking like comparatively to the QBs, the linebackers, very similar linebackers. I mean, you mentioned it. When Laporta's great, but when he went down, we were in trouble, big time trouble. But when he was on the field, he averaged 2.25 yards after first contact per reception, which was leading the top 10 group in tight ends. His 6.9 yards after the catch per reception topped all the tight ends. So, I mean, when he was on the field, he was fantastic. But just big time if. I know just today, actually, he was reported to be a full-time go to start the preseason workouts. So he will start the year with absolutely no limitations, which is going to be huge. But okay, so it just happens to be, and I think this makes sense. You and I have the number 1 position group for the Detroit Lions. Makes sense. I think everyone, all the listeners, everyone really in the NFL, anyone who knows the Lions would agree. The number 1 position group for the Detroit Lions, the running back room. To no one's surprise, Jahmyr Gibbs, Isaiah Pacheco, makes sense, right? Like that was a no-brainer, easiest pick in the draft, right?
For sure. And really, it's because of Gibbs. No surprise there. Like, I've been on record not a Pacheco fan. I think you're probably in the same boat. Like, just eye tests, advanced stats, like nothing is screaming like, oh, I want this guy to be my RB2. But like, this is Gibbs in his now, 4th season. Like, he's just... he's going to be insane, man. I mean, they're going to feed him. He is now the bell cow. Last year, he pretty much was, too. I mean, he poached so many touches from Montgomery last year. Big reason why the Lions, moved on from Demo after last season. Demo still had a lot left in the tank. He wanted to be the guy. Off in Houston now. Good for him. But yeah, dude, this is Gibbs' time. ESPN, I think, has him right behind Bijan. For me, it's Gibbs in front of Bijan. It always has been, always will be. Call me Homer. I don't give a shit. I just think that Gibbs is the better back. They're both fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but when you have the best back in the league, your running back position group is going to be the best on your team. Last year, 1,223 rushing yards, 13 rushing touchdowns, 5 yards per carry, 17 grabs, almost 1,900 scrimmage yards. He's insane, man. 87 forced tackles. He's a human joystick.
I mean, 18 touchdowns last year was the second most in Lions history, only to himself from 2024 when he had 20. Breaking Barry Sanders. He had 39 rushing touchdowns the last 3 years while splitting time between David Montgomery. He's averaged 225 carries per season since 2023. You mentioned being the bell back. He's going to push on 300 carries, and it's as long as his health can keep him there, and we know he can perform. I'm definitely talking myself into Pacheco a little bit just because I need something. I need to feel something when it comes to this team. I need to feel something in case Jahmyr Gibbs goes down. But I mean, again, you could argue just as top heavy, depending on how you see Pacheco as like Sam Laporta in the tight end groups or, the linebacker group. But Jahmyr Gibbs is far and away the best in his position. Shout out to Jahmyr Gibbs, best running back in the NFL. Don't at me. Better than Bijan easily.
Hell yeah. And again, like, just because I'm on record saying I don't like Isaiah Pacheco, I obviously still want him to do good. He's running back 2 on my favorite team of all time. I certainly want him to succeed. I think he wasn't the guy. He wasn't the move. But either way, no matter how you slice it, Jahmyr Gibbs legacy season.
Yeah, so call into the voicemail. Give us your thoughts. What do you think is the best position group? Obviously, I'm assuming everyone's going to say the running back room is the best position group for the Lions. But as we kind of got to like 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and then the 7 and 8, like there's a lot of flip flopping that can happen. So call into the voicemail. Give us your thoughts and opinions on what you think the Detroit Lions best position group is. What's the worst? What's going to be better this upcoming year than previous years? Make sure you guys call in and continue that conversation. Follow us on social media as we do that.